Right, welcome everyone to the City Services Committee meeting for 21st of August 2024. First on the agenda is apologies. At this moment we have one apology from Councillor Beatley. I'll move that if we accepted and leave of absence. Seconder, Councillor Hammond, all in favour? Johnson. Yeah. Okay, and Councillor Carey is on Zoom. Welcome there, Matt. Right, we shall go to item 2, declarations of interest. Everyone's got anything in conflict of interest, please report to the government advisor here. All right. Item 3, public forum. You don't have anyone in the public forum. So we'll move straight to our first director's report. Planning and regulatory services. So I'll just ask the director for an update on the report.
Thank you, Chair. Just 2 items. Just in relation to Paris, obviously it's beyond the reporting period, but I just wanted to note from some correspondence I'd sent to the members that we're now online with the EH gateway, and we've certainly received our application already. So just point there that's gone live and it is thus far. And just later on in the report at para 32, here I've got a mention to regarding the dangerous and unsanitary buildings policy. I just wanted to note that just since this was drafted, that matter is scheduled to come to council next month, and so just simply to say that a paper will come up next month to council on that matter. Thanks, Chair.
Okay, I look forward to council's questions. Councillor Hammond.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Just to be pedantic, on paragraph 12, you got 15 dogs impounded, 14 returned, 2 rehomed, and 5 euthanised.
Chair, yeah, thank you for that point. That's in relation to any of the animals and what's happened in the reporting periods of some so at the end of each month or every reporting period. So you're correct. It doesn't total the number of animals that are there, but that is the number of actions in that reporting period.
I've just got a question on 37 that resource consents with mainly to do with Wellington Water. When we do all our work, and I guess it comes down to Wellington Water clipping there. And I understand that they've got a new person to fix that up. Can we redeem any of those disputes back, or how are they held accountable for not being able to complete that work on time?
But thank you, Chair. Look, I mean, we have service level agreements with Wellington Water. Obviously, they provide those that free water technical input for us, and in this case, in the resource consents process. And thanks for drawing your attention to that. I should have mentioned that, and I think that was new information that members of the committee had asked a good report on that, so it's now included. Excuse me. To answer your question, there is not a direct line item where we tally up those totals and we turn around and pass that direct cost back to Wellington Water. And you've noted that obviously overleaf, particularly at para 40. The team are working through with our colleagues at Wellington Water, and we are buoyed by the fact that that vacancy has been filled. We do consider that that has been a big contributing factor, some of those delays. So I guess all I can really say to you at this point is no is the answer to that specific question, but the team and the consents group are working closely with their peers at Wellington Water as best they can to try to keep things moving.
It'll get better. Chair,
I'd like to say that to you, but I'm not going to make promises that it comes through. But we'll work closely with our colleagues at Wellington Water.
Okay, right. Any question, Councillor Aldrin?
Thank you. On page 7, resource consents. I'm just wondering what we can do to pause any work when there's a resource consent already in place, because there is the felling of beach trees and Catherine Mansfield Drive happening in just 5 days. So I'm just wondering what we can do, because the community have felt ignored through that process. What can we do to pause that resource consent?
Chair, I'll just clarify my interpretation of that question. It sounds like it might be a two-part question. It might be a broad question around when a consent is held by a consent holder, can the consenting authority, this council, do something about that? To which the short answer is no. A lawful consent is a lawful consent held. I think you might be then asking me a question around the consent that a developer holds in relation to some road widening and tree works removals on Catherine Mansfield Drive. And again, my answer is the same on that specific matter as well, in that there is not a statutory process for the council to overturn a lawful resource consent that's held. That's my short answer to that question.
Thank you.
Any questions? I'll move that report be received. All in favour? Aye. Yes. We shall go to next item 5. Director's report on strategy, partnerships and growth. Director, just to update anything new.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing particular to update. There was a question with regards to paragraph 21-22. Just noting the domain name change that has occurred for council's website. A question was related to the cost of that. I can report that it was a minimal sort of business as usual activity. There is an ongoing annual cost of less than $200 a year to maintain the registered domain name. Other than that, the work involved mostly some staff time and small amount on our digital services provider as well. Do take any other questions?
Through you, Chair. Thanks for the information on the engagement piece. I was looking through the stats that you provided around the Facebook, LinkedIn, Insta posts. And when I look at the Facebook and LinkedIn's not getting much traction. And also you've got some real spikes in terms of the Facebook. So obviously people are getting in there for specific things, even though there's quite a number of, I'm assuming that number 18,045 is Facebook followers, is it? Or, because that seems like quite a lot for council. What's that?
Could you just direct me to the
Oh, sorry, on the bottom of page 17, the graph that you've got there, Facebook and LinkedIn cross-channel engagements.
Yes.
The number of, what are you counting as 18,000?
I believe those are engagements.
So that's
page views or comments.
right.
Interacting with the
the
account, if you like, or the posts themselves. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, that's what I was just checking. Is it, because you've got different groups, obviously different demographic groups that you target within the different things around. So LinkedIn being a more business, sort of over 35, and Insta in the 30s as well. What are some of the strategies involved in? Is there a strategy to get more engagement, more?
Through you, Chair, we do have an operational social media strategy that is sort of guiding, I guess, the team's work across our different channels and the way we try to engage. You're correct, there are different audiences. Something like LinkedIn, we're relatively new to, and thus the activity is not as high.
Right.
Or the uptake, but very much the biggest audience, and I guess our main channel still is very much via Facebook as sort of our primary social media channel. But yeah, it's an evolving space.
And I guess, sorry, through you to follow up, given, because I assume that from looking at this, have we done sort of a demographic breakdown on because the users of Facebook are a different demographic than one that we might want to get into a bit more and certainly engage next year with the upcoming election. We obviously always sort of get with low voter turnout, how are we reaching different across audiences? I guess is what I'm.
Through you, Chair. I guess the team overall is focused on improving our engagement and our reach across our various demographics and community. We very much target, I guess, the nature of the content or the topic area as well to try and see where we can get the best reach. We're very much aware that obviously not everyone is on social media. We have got some limitations these days for reaching outside of that through print media, which is obviously reduced in reach and so forth. So it is an ongoing challenge, I guess, to maintain our outreach and our engagement at the level that we are aiming for. I'm happy to come back with some more commentary, I guess, on particular areas of how that's targeted. I don't have anything more, I guess, right now, I'm afraid. But I'm happy to come back with some more analysis, or I guess some of the thinking around how the team is approaching that, if that helps.
Yeah, well, certainly, I think in the younger demographic it would be good because there's a lot of people who certainly they may have a Facebook account, they certainly don't use it very much. And so being able to get reach into other pockets and helping people, it became apparent during the long-term planning process, I guess, that people didn't have a great understanding of how council operates and what we do in certain spaces. And so getting that reach out would be.
And through you, Chair, I think particularly platforms like Instagram, and I think we may have dabbled or explored something like TikTok. I was going to mention TikTok, yes. And I guess it's also very much subject to the nature of the content that we're sharing. Yeah. It's quite hard to share a more meaty or detailed information piece or engagement message through TikTok, for example. So it is a challenge, and I'm happy to seek some advice from the team on what else we can offer you in terms of the approach and what we're aiming to achieve.
Councillor Carson?
No, that's the next opportunity.
Right. Any other questions? Any questions?
Yeah.
I'll move the report that you see. Have a seconder. Councillor Hannah? All in favour? Aye. We'll go to our next director's report on asset management operations. I'll just get the director to give us an update. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just through the Chair, a couple of updates tonight. I'll just run through the paper. So I guess the section roading, this encompasses renewal capital works. There will be a specific paper coming up to council in due course, I think, due to the way that the meeting cycle works, will be next month or the following month. Just as we land what the Waka Kotahi New Zealand Transport Agency funding looks like for this financial year, there's certainly been some significant cuts that have been proposed. Not all fully landed, but a number of them have, and there's going to be some implications for our program. So there'll be a separate paper coming on that. I know that there was some interest around CCTV, and I have inquired about that, and it was due to be up and running by the end of July, but there have been a couple of operational issues, so I'm assured that within the next fortnight, this is paragraph 28, the upgrade will be complete. Onto Three Waters, paragraph 34, local water done well. You'll be aware that there is a joint councillor workshop occurring on the 30th of August, and that's got ward councillors in the region, certainly in the part of the region this side of the Rimatakas. I encourage everyone to go if they make it. And then following on from that will actually be a separate Upper Hutt City Council councillor workshop that will occur on the 6th of September as we work through local water done well and the next steps with that. Then what else did I highlight? I guess, just on the stormwater paragraph 56, in terms of this unneeded stream improvements project, just to note that since the Te Awa Kaurangi Hutt River Valley Subcommittee, we have moved forward in terms of the drafting of the terms of reference for the review. That's actually going to the steering group tomorrow morning, and we'll be moving forward, reporting back through the subcommittee, because that's the designated appropriate governance for that project, but also, of course, through to yourselves as well. And those are the highlights.
Item to the floor for questions. Councillor Carson.
Okay, attachment 1, which is the HPO extreme dashboard.
Mhm.
We've got a free budget of 55 million, and you might have seen numerous comments on Facebook since the LTP discussions that it costed boomerang to 90 million. So when I went to the LT plan final document, it sets out the cost over the 10-year. That adds up, there's about 5 to 9 million a year, it adds up about 97 million. My understanding is that is mainly operating costs. I just want confirmation from the Director of Finance and Digital Risk and Digital Solutions, because there's a lot of rumours out there in Facebook posts, and still happening, that the cost has ballooned, which is the capital upgrade cost from 55 million or 45 million when it was in 2021 to 90 million. So we just need to put that to bed somewhat and say what the actual capital cost is 55 million, and what's in the long-term plan set out over the 10 years is something quite different.
Yes, you're quite correct. It's 54 million, I think, actually,
55 in here.
is the total capital. The rest is out year spending on other
Yeah.
related costs.
Like operating costs.
Operating
ongoing
costs and ongoing
Yeah, thank you.
maintenance. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So I just wanted that recorded, saying we're going publicly live streaming. The actual cost, according to this report, is the 54 million was actually 55, because I think we added $1 million for contingency. That's bigger, yeah. So it was 50, that was added 2 million for the roof and then another $1 million for contingency. So, thank you. And my second question, if I may, Chair, is actually bouquets in terms of the Beechwood Lane. I and Councillor Hammond went to the opening, but we didn't actually cut a ribbon to open it, but never mind. But when you have a look at the bridge, and it's been posted, and there's actually a great sign up there showing the history of the bridge. When you have a look at the woodwork, the Australian hardwood, the columns, the beams are massive, you know, and they were all originally pit sawn, and then apparently the replacement hardwood was over Mangaroa Valley, and that has all been dressed and is now sitting, and the bridge looks actually fantastic. So it's a great asset and well worth the effort to get it restored.
Only question of the soft rock.
It was done, yeah. What a quarter of a ribbon.
I've got a question just on the director on 13 on the renewals here, or ratings roads. So some of the roads like Peepsy Street and Ward Street, when they've been dug up, and I'm pretty sure some of these contractors got degrees on how to dig it up, and they're just not that good at putting it back together. So we've got one, in particular, the Chatsworth Road water main being dug down. So rather than wait down the track till we've got a problem down there, are we going to make sure that it's, when they compact it down properly, that we have someone there to make sure it's done properly, and when they put the road back together, it'll be back together and it'll stay there like that for 2 years?
Through yourself, Chair, absolutely, and that's something that I've personally got involved with a SLT member at Wellington Water. I've got meetings lined up to discuss this very issue, and using Chatsworth Road as a specific example where we can't let this happen again. I think, as I've mentioned in the inquiry update that I provided to councillors, there's been a potential mismatch in understanding of roles and responsibilities between us as the road controlling authority and Wellington Water as the project manager, overseer of this work. We're going to make it very clear as to what our expectations are around this and specifically around compaction requirements as well.
Okay, thank you. Also, just on 38, just with the possibility of using or sourcing plumbers, possibility of fixing leaks, just with the update on can we get plumbers to be qualified? I know it can be done, but will it be done? We haven't heard any more.
No, and through you, Chair. So this issue, if I recall, was actually raised at the Risk and Audit Committee, the last one that occurred, and I just thought it timely because I have stayed on this. I know it's something that's dear to many councillors' hearts. So I have stayed with Wellington Water on this. In my mind, Wellington Water have done what the right thing is to do, and that is to reach out to the plumbers, gas fitters, and drain layers board and Water New Zealand around this. I'm mindful, increasingly within New Zealand, we now have a specific regulator that's been put in place specifically to oversee works that take place on the potable water network. So, while back in the day, I think, we'd all probably be a little bit more gung-ho and bullish around actually getting in there and trying to get work done. It's very clear that any work that takes place on the other side of the Toby needs to be undertaken by suitably qualified people. So the conversation is ongoing. I mean, at this point in time, as advised by the board itself, the qualification is not there. There's another qualification that needs to be acquired to allow work on that part of the network to occur. I would be hesitant to recommend whether, for example, our Park City Council, or even if we joined up with other councils, went out and looked to even potentially create our own training requirements or what have you. We really must ensure that people operating on that network meet the standards. Because ultimately, I probably want to take legal advice on this, but if we advised that was suitable to take place, where does liability fall with that? Does it fall with myself as a director? Does it fall with yourself as governors that have advised? I just want to be very careful around that. That's all I'm trying to say.
I guess where I'm coming from is that we've got a problem there and it's not getting fixed too quickly.
Well, to be fair, Chair, I mean, we have to give Wellington Water credit where credit's due. I mean, we now have the leak dashboard that's coming through, and certainly according to that, leaks are reducing. In terms of, if I use my inbox as a barometer of the number of leaks, I mean, I'll say it is winter time, of course. So, they're less obvious in winter time, but certainly since I've joined council in this acting role, I have felt confident that Wellington Water are making a meaningful difference in this area. It's not perfect, I'm not going to say that, but I'm also really mindful that Wellington Water, like a lot of agencies across the city and the region, are going through change, and they've recently lost their chief executive. They are looking down the barrel of another round of water reform as well. So I'm just wanting to sort of constructively work with them as much as I can to try and get as much out of them as I can. But I hear you. I hear you loud and clear.
It's just that there's quite a few issues in all these reports, and Wellington Water seems to be always at the top of them. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Chair.
Any other questions? Thanks, Jonathan.
Thank you, through you, Chair. Page 30 under horticultural. It's great to see that they're extending Barton's Bush by planting new trees, and that makes me happy, but the hypocrisy astounds me when there's beautiful old growth in Catherine Mansfield Drive being removed for the widening of the road. I'm just wondering, what are we doing to protect old growth? Because there's also the totara tree in the green space next to where the Longhorn was, where that building got removed. Is that one the next to go? And I'm just wondering what more we can do to make sure old growth is protected, because there's very little left in the valley now.
Through you, Chair, that's probably, I'm not sure if that's an answer I can immediately answer for you around, because I think it's more in terms of our planning provisions, how we identify and protect some of these notable trees or areas of vegetation. So I think there is provision there already to provide, you know, for protection as appropriate, but we just have to be very mindful and careful when, you know, vegetation is on certain types of land parcels as well. But I am very mindful across the road with that, you know, beautiful tree that's there. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Councillor Hammond?
Thank you, Chair. Item 56, could I be party to terms of reference being on the subcommittee?
Through you, Chair, the terms of reference, if I recall, so, because you are on the subcommittee, sir, and I believe the minutes, the way they're written is that we as officers took on board all of the feedback that we received at that subcommittee and were then sort of pushing forward with it. Certainly, I can see an issue with providing the terms of reference. So.
Further questions? No further questions. So I'll move the report be received. Can I have a second? Mayor Guthrie, all in favour? Aye. Passed. Move on to item 7, Director's Report, Community Services. I'll ask you if there's any updates to.
Through you, Chair, the report as presented, and happy to answer any questions or take any.
Okay, I open up to the floor. I've just got one myself, just on 80, the medieval to metal, how it's been probably for Nakings, you know, big one for the year. Have we got any sort of numbers that have gone through here at the moment?
Through you, Chair, very roughly as of Monday, there was approximately, give or take, 6,000.
Okay, that's great.
And the numbers, when that is completed, will be presented as part of the report.
No, it's good. It's good. There's good feedback. Any questions? Councillor Holderness.
Sorry, just in, how's that tracking? So 6,000, how's that tracking with expected numbers?
Through you, Chair, I'm not sure whether we accept
Oh,
expected numbers.
Right.
We anticipate how successful they're going to be, but I don't think we actually track we're going to get for this, but I can certainly check with the director.
That's right, it was just of interest. So whether 6,000 was sort of on track to what you expected or not, or, yeah.
Really, I'll check.
Just a reminder that talked about public event coming up there today, 21 in September the 21st, I think. Thursday night, so you'll be invitation to the 21st birthday party.
And in September.
September, Thursday night, it's Thursday night, the 21st, so invitations will be going out shortly, so 21st birthday, yes, Thursday, I'll tell you exactly. 26th, Thursday night, the 26th, 6 p.m.
That's great. Councillor Carey.
You got it. Thanks, through your chair. Just can you tell us about the rangatahi advocacy workshops? What were they involving?
What numbers, sorry, through you, Chair, what numbers is it?
6.
5, is it? 5.
Oh, para 5, sorry, yes.
If you're asking for what is the content through your Chair, if they're asking what the content, I'm not familiar with what the content of that is, but certainly I can find out exactly how long the sessions go and who delivers what and what's covered in those particular sessions.
Yeah, just broadly, if there's a glossy or a form or something like that, that's easy to share. That I'm just interested. Thank you.
Certainly, no problem.
Yes.
I've just got one more for me, just on 12, homeless community, in the way of rough sleepers, how many are we talking here when you say rough sleepers?
Through to very hard to determine, but talking to the community development team that are involved with this, somewhere between 10 to 15 currently in our community. And it's really hard to put specific numbers, but yeah, around about 10 to 15. And by rough, we mean not only in parks, but in cars and vans, and that are known to us. So there may be others that are a little bit transient that might be in one place that we may not know of. So yeah, but there are around about 10 to 15 that we know of and we are interacting with to some degree or another.
No questions? No other questions? Okay, I'll move the report be received, no seconded, Councillor Holderness, all in favour?
Aye.
Pass. And that's it. I'd like to thank the viewers. And I'll close the meeting at 5:01. Thank you. Yeah.